Usually when we talk about professional networking, there is this immediate kind of visceral image that pops right into your head.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like you step into a sterile, fluorescent lit hotel ballroom and you're handed a sticky paper name tag that, inevitably ruins your jacket.
It always runs the jacket.
Right. And then you just stand there, clutching a lukewarm cup of coffee, surveying this sea of total strangers.
Yeah.
And you feel this overwhelming pressure to just immediately go on the hunt and prove your worth to people you've literally never met.
It induces a genuine cognitive load.
Yeah.
I mean, the traditional approach was entirely built around volume and transaction.
Mm-hmm.
You were essentially functioning as a human spam filter,
Right.
just processing dozens of superficial interactions in the hopes of finding like one single actionable lead.
Wow, yeah.
It's just an exhausting way to operate.
Exhausting and, frankly, super inefficient. But
Yeah.
for you listening today, we are going to basically dismantle that entire scenario.
Right.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to completely upgrade how you approach professional relationship building.
Definitely.
So whether you're a freelancer scaling your business, a creative entrepreneur, or you're just prepping for your next major industry meetup, we have this incredible strategy document titled networkingevents.docs.
It's a great source.
It really is.
Yes.
We are analyzing the current 2026 landscape to uncover what actually works now. So, okay, let's unpack this. The core premise we're seeing across the board is that the era of blind high-volume pitching is completely obsolete.
Yes, bed.
The whole architecture of how we build professional relationships has fundamentally shifted.
What's fascinating here is the mechanics of that shift. I mean, we aren't just seeing a mild evolution.
Right.
It's a complete structural pivot away from those fleeting transactional encounters.
Right.
The prevailing strategy for 2026 is built entirely around authentic engagement,
Mm-hmm.
heavily leveraged by artificial intelligence, integrated into hybrid event formats, and this is key focused on cultivating long-term ecosystems.
Ecosystems, right?
Yeah, the baseline question has evolved from who can I sell my services to right now to who holds the missing puzzle pieces to my broader professional ecosystem.
Which implies a massive psychological shift before you even step foot into a venue. We're moving from the what of networking to the how.
Exactly.
Because that old model, it was essentially broadcast mode, like speed dating with a megaphone. You walked up to someone and just delivered a highly rehearsed elevator pitch, hoping something would stick.
Yeah, just shouting your pitch.
Right. But the current best practices explicitly warn against making sales the primary focus of an initial meeting. So it makes me wonder, if we aren't there to pitch our services and generate immediate revenue, what exactly are we doing? What's the functional goal of that first conversation?
Well, the functional goal is establishing mutual trust.
Yeah.
And there is a very specific behavioral science behind why pitching destroys that.
Oh, real?
Yeah, think about the neurology of a hard sell. When a stranger approaches you and immediately launches into a rehearsed pitch, they trigger your brain's natural defense mechanism.
That makes so much sense.
Right. It feels predatory. You experience a spike in cortisol, your polite barrier goes up, and instead of actually processing their information, your brain is actively calculating an exit strategy.
Oh, we all know that feeling. The classic polite nod while slowly angling your shoulders toward the door maneuver.
Exactly, that physical response. So, to bypass that defense mechanism, the tactical approach requires you to prioritize relationship building through active curiosity.
Okay, so curiosity instead of pitching.
Yes. Instead of presenting a value proposition, you ask meaningful diagnostic questions. You try to uncover the other person's current operational challenges.
Interesting.
If you can offer a valuable insight or a different perspective on their problem without expecting an immediate return, you completely change the dynamic. You move from being a salesperson to being a collaborator.
It's almost like you have to be more interested than interesting.
Yes, exactly.
By focusing entirely on their friction points, you become memorable.
That is the core mechanism right there. People's memories of events are deeply tied to emotional resonance.
Right.
They rarely remember the bullet points of a rehearsed pitch, but they absolutely remember the person who made them feel heard regarding a really complex industry challenge.
Wow.
That feeling of being understood, that genuine interaction is the foundational currency of modern networking.
I love that framework. It actually removes a significant amount of the performance anxiety. You
It
know,
really
you
does.
don't have to be this slick, charismatic salesperson. You just have to be a good investigative journalist of other people's problems.
That's a great way to put it.
But if we are prioritizing these deep, meaningful conversations, it raises a logistical issue.
Okay.
How do we actually find the right people to have these conversations with? Because finding someone who shares your highly specific niche interests in a room of 500 people, well, that used to rely entirely on serendipity.
And serendipity is incredibly inefficient.
Right.
This is where the technological revolution completely alters the landscape. We are seeing artificial intelligence fundamentally reshape event logistics.
Yeah.
AI is stepping in to handle the heavy lifting of discovery, acting essentially as a high-powered matching engine.
Okay, wait. Here's where it gets really interesting. Let me push back on that for a second.
Sure.
Wait, so AI is matching us now. If the goal is this deeply human, authentic connection we just discussed, isn't it inherently contradictory to rely on robots like a cold, algorithmic sorting machine to facilitate it?
I understand that friction. I do.
Hmm.
But if we connect this to the bigger picture, consider the underlying mechanics of what the AI is actually doing here.
Okay.
Think of AI in this context not as a replacement for human interaction, but as a highly efficient sous chef.
A sous chef.
Yeah, the algorithm preps all your ingredients, it organizes the data, analyzes the overlapping interests, and handles all the messy logistics.
Right, okay.
It does all the tedious chopping so that your human energy is entirely preserved for the creative act of cooking, which is the actual conversation itself.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. So, what data is this sous chef actually chopping? Like, how does the algorithm know who I need to talk to?
Well, it relies on semantic matching and behavioral data. Event organizers are utilizing systems that analyze deep attendee profiles well before the doors even open.
Wow.
We're talking about algorithms that scan your stated goals, your industry sector, the specific challenges you listed during registration, and even your public professional footprints.
So, it knows a lot about you going in.
Exactly.
Ah.
Then you integrate smart QR business cards and dynamic digital profiles. The result is that the event application can push real-time networking recommendations directly to your device.
So, it's not just like a static directory, it's actively nudging me.
Yes, actively.
It might send a notification saying, based on your focus on sustainable supply chains, you have an 85% overlap with the operations manager standing by the coffee station.
That is the exact mechanism. And furthermore, we are seeing the implementation of interactive networking lounges guided by these algorithms. Yeah, you sit in a specific zone, and the system dynamically introduces you to people with complementary supply and demand needs. You get to skip that awkward 10 minutes of conversational probing just to figure out what the other person does.
Right, the so what do you do phase.
Exactly. You bypass that and jump straight into high-level, meaningful engagement.
Well, if the technology is already doing all the spatial mapping and matching, it makes complete sense that the physical boundaries of the event ballroom are becoming kind of irrelevant,
Absolutely.
which explains why the dominant model for 2026 is the hybrid event. If the AI is facilitating the connection digitally, whether the person is standing right next to me or sitting in a home office in another country doesn't really matter.
The hybrid ecosystem naturally extends from this technological infrastructure. Once you remove the friction of physical introduction, you unlock massive logistical benefits.
Mm-hmm.
For organizers, the attendee engagement analytics become incredibly robust. They can map out interaction nodes, track which virtual booths hold attention, and really see where the collaborative hotspots are forming.
And for the attendee, it just democratizes access. You drastically reduce travel costs and eliminate geographical barriers entirely.
It allows for continuous international collaboration. I mean, you could be physically attending a local meetup in London, but your AI matchmaking profile is simultaneously facilitating a deep, algorithmically verified connection with a potential partner who's tuning in from Tokyo.
But, this introduces a really fascinating paradox in the current trends.
How so?
Well, if technology allows these events to be massive, borderless, and highly analytical, why are we seeing attendees actively fleeing the giant 10,000-person mega conferences? If global access is the big feature, why is the demand actually shifting toward intimacy?
It comes down to human cognitive limits.
Okay.
The sheer volume of a borderless global network creates immense psychological overwhelm. The antidote to feeling like an insignificant data point in a massive global web is the micro-community.
Micro-community.
Yeah, we are tracking a rapid surge in highly specialized niche industry meetups. Professionals are just bypassing the generic business leadership summits in favor of hyper-local business networking groups. or like highly specialized creative entrepreneur collectives.
Because narrowing the scope guarantees a deeper experience.
Precisely.
Like, if you are in a room of 50 people who all understand the exact nuances of your specific sub-industry, the baseline level of conversation starts so much higher.
Yes. And what's equally important is how the format of these micro-communities has evolved. We're seeing a complete departure from the traditional mixer.
Thank goodness.
Right. The new standard is experience-driven networking. Organizers are replacing the awkward stand-in-a-circle introductions with live workshops, collaborative problem-solving sessions, creative activities, and even wellness lounges.
Which completely changes the social dynamic. If we are both participating in a collaborative workshop, our shared focal point is the task in front of us, not each other. It significantly lowers the social friction. We're working together organically, rather than staring at each other trying to force a connection out of thin air.
Shared experiences accelerate trust. Additionally, these micro-communities often utilize shared values as a primary filter.
Like what?
For example, the massive trend towards sustainability-focused events. By prioritizing paperless registration, eco-conscious venues, reduced waste catering, and reusable materials, the organizers are implicitly filtering for attendees who share those specific ethical values.
Oh, that's smart.
It creates a secondary layer of cohesion before anyone even speaks.
Let's ground some of these abstract concepts